Hey, Vlad here, devinside.com. Welcome to another video. In the previous video, we created all the wiring for our HTTP app, and today we're going to finish all the HTTP routes and improve a couple of things here and there. We're pretty much done with the series. However, this is not going to be the last video. In any case, let's get right to it. All right, so this is where we left off. Let's open the controller, which is this one over here. And we're also going to open the client like this. So as of right now, we have only the show all route, right? So let's actually go and see it in action. And maybe actually for a while, we will actually go into this one, and we're actually going to do a restart like this. Okay, so with every change it is going to restart the server. We'll see if we actually gonna stick to this or not. Maybe it's gonna cause us some issues, but for now we can go and do a show all. By the way, notice that every time we're doing a show all, we're calling something, the first request takes forever. This is pretty much the JVM hotspot, right? So the second request is like just a couple of milliseconds. All right, so this is the first route that we have, and we're going to add the routes in the order of simplicity. Okay, so we're just going to grab the next simplest route, and the next route in line is going to be the deletion. Okay, so we're just going to copy this one, and it's going to be delete. Okay, and it's going to be also, root to dos, and we're going to call delete all. And same as before, we're going to go to the other controller, this one. Actually, let me make it stay. Let me switch this one like this. Okay, so I'm just going to do Control R, and I'm going to do delete like this. Okay, so I should be able to, okay, so this is delete. I want delete all. Okay, delete all is a simple one. Okay, so I'm just going to go and literally copy paste it like this, go over here, copy paste it like this. Okay, so over here, instead of like returning a unit, like all of our functions, like every time we're going to see unit, it's just going to be a response of f. Okay, and therefore over here we don't even have the console, we don't have anything. All we need to do is we need to say no content. Okay, by the way, I haven't shown it to you in the previous video, but like these ones like okay and no contact in HTTP4s, it's just a bunch of helpers to to return 200 or to return 201 and all of these things. Okay. So we have the delete all, but I don't want to go and test it because we don't have any routes to create any to dos, and I don't want to keep like jumping back and forth between the terminal app, because we're reusing the database, right? So I can jump back to the terminal app and create a couple of to dos. Anyway, before we test this. This route, we're going to add a bunch of improvements first. Now, first of all, we have a bit of a repetition over here, right? So all of the requests go to the to do. So if you go over here, this delete all. Okay, it's going to look like this: delete all, and we're going to have delete. Okay, but it's going to be the same endpoint, right? So the HTTP allows us to reuse the endpoint and just change the HTTP verbs. Okay, so we have over here. We have some repetition, and HTTP4s comes with a concept of a router, which basically allows you to specify a prefix and just hang all the routes are under it. Okay, so all we need to do is we need to import it. We're going to go over here and we're going to say import org HTTP4s server router like this, and it just wants a tuple. It just wants the prefix and then the routes. Okay, so we're just going to do a router like this. Okay, and we're just going to say that the prefix is going to be to dos like this, arrow to the right, and now we don't need to specify to dos over here, right? So everything is going to stay the same. Okay, notice that because we're restarting the server, I can just go real quick to over here and just send the request, and it's going to work exactly the same as before. So it goes to slash to dos. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is, just for fun, we're going to go to the HTTP app. Okay, and we're going to add another router, right? Just for fun, we're going to hang all of our routes under /API. Okay, and for this, instead of wrapping this whole thing, I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to say import Scala util chaining like this, and over here, before we're doing like or not found, we're just going to grab our routes and we're going to pipe them into a function which takes the routes and just going to create a router for API and then arrow to the right, the routes. Okay, so we just hanged like all of our routes over there. Value are not found is not a member of nothing. Okay, it's 2 errors, probably because we don't have this import. Yeah, import router. Like this. Okay, and now because we're using this fancy client, which allows us to have variables over here. So if I do show all now, it's going to say not found because the API changed. So it's going to be, what did it say? API/todos, right? So we just like put all of our routes under API, and now it should work again. There we go. Okay, show all, great. 115, that's a lot. 61. Okay, great. Okay, so maybe we can test it. Whatever. Delete all, no content. 204, no content. Show all, none of them are there. Okay. So, yeah, before I'm gonna go and create them later. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're gonna go to the HTTP app, and we're going to add a bit more logging. As you can see, as of right now, it just says, accepted connection. I actually want to see more. So what we're going to do is over here, we have an HTTP app. Okay. And after this, I'm going to have another pipe. I'm going to say logger HTTP app log headers equals true, log body equals true, like this. Import the logger, which is this one. All right, there we go, like that. Okay, so let's go over here and let's do show all. We just removed all of them, right? But still, at least now it should log more. Does it log more? Yeah. So the body is empty, and we're seeing the headers now. Okay, VS Code REST client. Okay, it's going to be more useful once we're actually sending something. Maybe we actually should. Let's go real quick. And let's do re stop. Let's go into main http4s. No, not http4s. We want the regular one, main Postgres. Okay, this one, let's just run it real quick. Create a couple of to-dos. So we're gonna have buy milk 228 days in 9th of August. It's 11:56. All right, did it work? It did. Okay, so we can already click show all. We're not running the server. Okay, so let's create one more, buy more milk, like this, 228. Let's do it for tomorrow. Whatever, 12 o'clock. All right, show all, and there they are. Okay, great. Let's quit from this one. Let's go back to our, by the way, you can always type projects and see all the projects that we have. And you can also do cd main tab, and you see, okay, we have this one, and this one. Okay, we also have the regular main, but because I put in the hyphen, we didn't see the autocompletion. Okay, so restart. Now we should be able to see all of them. Ta-da, show all. Waiting. Okay, and now we actually see the body is being logged. Okay, great. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to clean up. We're going to clean up a bunch of things before we finish the routes. So if we go to our program, which is the well, actually it's going to be multiple of them, but let's go to this one. Okay, so over here, if we end up adding more controllers like this, and like all of them are going to have routes, right? So we're just gonna have do this, right? But I won't be able to do something like this. We won't be able to do something like this because let me actually add a couple of commas. Okay, so we're not gonna be able to do this because it says value routes is not a member of classly blah blah blah. Okay, this is happening because our controller over here. Okay, so this one, for example, it is defined in the CRUD package. Okay, however, every package is going to have the controller that is going to look exactly like this. Okay, and so if we were to move it up a little bit, okay, so if we were to just grab this controller and I don't know, it's basically a util kind of thing, so we don't even need to put it into to do. So let's go over here. Let's create a new Scala file. It's going to be a what is it going to be? It's going to be a trait controller, like this. Okay, and let's just grab this one, put it in here, Okay, let's import the routes like this. Okay, so now if I just remove this, it should compile over there, right? It should compile in one of them, but we didn't change it in the other one. Hold on. So this is the controller. It just has the object, and we have this one. It has the routes, and we have this one. Um, where where is it? This one. Program 30. By the way, notice that I can hold Alt and I can click on it, but for some reason, okay, it actually didn't do it now. But great. Like when I was preparing for this video, like in VS Code, like somehow I was clicking on it and it was injecting a couple of codes over here. Okay, so now it says the same thing. Why did it say the same thing? Oh yeah, damn it. What I wanted to show before over here, that this would not have worked, but now it does work because all of them have the same type. Okay, so before, like every controller would have had a different type. Well, actually, we have only one of them, so it would have been a bad example anyway. Anyway, now that we moved it out, we can actually do tricks like this, and because we can do tricks like this, we can actually also get rid of this non-empty chain. So we're going to go into this http4app.dsl over here, and we're going to basically use var args, and this is going to make sure that we always have at least one route. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to call the first one, we're just going to call it first. Okay, and it's going to be the first route. Okay, and then we're going to have the remaining routes, okay, same type, but with a star, with the var args. This is how you can use var args, but still ensure that you have at least one parameter. Okay, so now over here the routes are going to be first, and need to make sure that we have the proper order, like this, remaining. Okay, like this, and now we can map all of them to routes. Okay, and now because we have this remaining, we don't actually need gets data over here. Come on, who cannot type remaining? Hold on, remaining like this, remaining routes. Oh yeah, so the way I did it is I wanted to have controllers over here. Okay, so we're just gonna have controllers over here, controller. Okay, like this, which is great. So now we can go back to the program over here, and now we just don't need to do this non-empty chain, and we don't need to map to routes. We can just do this, and we can just do that. Okay, so now when our application is going to be growing, we can just do this, right? And then that's all. Okay, which is great. I'm gonna leave this indentation like this. Okay, okay. So hold on. Let me stop this guy because if I'm correct, the other main is probably not going to work. Yeah. Okay, that was correct. So the other program, which is the one that uses HTTP as well. Okay, same deal. Just remove non-empty chain and remove this guy. Okay, and we don't need to do dot routes. Just give it a bunch of controllers. It's going to create an app. We don't need gets data over here, and we don't need gets data over here either. Like this. All right, great. Let's go back to main http-http4s Postgres skunk. Let's do the restart and let's just see if it's still working. Client show all, and yeah, it still works exactly the same. We're not gonna do delete. Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much done with all the improvements. So let's go and just finish the routes. Okay, so we have these two controllers. What else do we have? So this is the original one. This is the one that I want. Wait, what is this one? Oh yeah, so this is just a helper. Okay, so now the controller is just the object. Great. Okay, so we have the original controller, the one that is not for HTTP. We have this one, and we have our client. Okay, so the next one that we're going to work on is going to be the one that can delete only one. Okay, so it's going to look like this, and we're just going to have a URL param. The order of the URL params over here doesn't really matter, right? Because this is a pattern match. But once we're going to start dealing with the query params over there, the order matters. Okay, so over here we're just going to do delete ID like this. Okay, so we're just going to go to the regular one, and we're going to find delete. Okay, All right, let's see. So it uses the wizID prompt, uses the wizRead one, then it calls the delete one, then it does this. Okay, so maybe I can just copy all of them, just like this one, this one, this one, 2ID, wizRead one, all of them, even this one. Yeah, so I'm just gonna copy all of them, go over here, create a bit more space. In fact, maybe I can just do this for now. Okay, so that we have more space. So we have delete all. Let's put delete above like this. Paste. All right. Cool. So everywhere where we have a unit, as already mentioned, we're just going to have response F. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, press Alt F3. I'm going to have cursors everywhere. You see it over here, 6 selections, just paste response of F. Okay, so over here it's going to be the same, right? Same as down there. It's going to be no content, right? So it's going to be the same as over here, no content. No content. Let's see. Every time we're doing like console like put arrow, this is going to be a bad request. Okay, so this is just going to be a bad request like this. Okay, so before I start reading these messages, I'm going to look real quick at some things that I'm going to notice real quick. Remember, we had this like horrible sort of like validation kind of thingy that sort of like pretends to know which persistence layer is going to be injected, and so it pretends to know that we're going to use like integers for IDs or UUIDs for IDs, because remember, as of right now, it's strings. The IDs are strings. In fact, the entire next video is going to be pretty much about this topic. Okay, wizRead one gets the ID, blah blah blah, display. Okay, so this one is also going to be just a bad request. Bad request. We don't need this one. No to do's found. Okay. In fact, is this a bad request? No, that's actually going to be not found. It's going to be not found. It's much better, right? Because it's not found. That's exactly what it's for. 404. All right, what is left? Okay, type mismatch. So on valid, it wants the ID, which is a string. It says type mismatch. Okay, so it underlines ID prompt. Where's our ID prompt? We don't have ID prompt? Oh no, this is ID prompt. No, hold on, but ID prompt. Oh, we don't have the ID prompt, because the way it's going to work is that we're going to have the parameter. Okay, so over here it's not going to be a val, it's going to be a def, because over here the ID already comes in. Okay, so this is going to be ID, which is a string. So we're going to put it over here. Notice that we have this shadowing over here. It's going to be fine, right? So over here it's going to be a string. Over here it's going to be a proper type. Okay, so it's going to be curried. So we're going to have ID, which is string, and we're going to do ID, and because of that, we probably just can use pipe, something like this. Do we even have pipe? We do. All right. Constructor cannot be instantiated to expected type. Why not? Oh yeah, I forgot to remove the flat map, right? Because now we don't have the, remember, like over here we had the ID prompt, right? An ID prompt would give us an alpha string. Over here we already have the ID, so it's already a string, which is why I changed this map to a pipe. Okay, so this is also going to be a pipe, right? And the regular pipe is just a match. Okay, so we can also do match, exactly the same thing. Okay, so now we can delete by ID. I believe we actually have everything. I mean, if it compiles, then we can go and try it out. So if we do show all, and then we're gonna go and okay, how are we going to do this? Let me copy this. Let me paste it over here. Right, so this is like one of those things where like a proper test would be more useful, but this way is proper, proper fun. Okay, so this is going to be delete with no to do's found. No to do's found like this. So we're just gonna say, okay, remember it's like /ID, right? So it's /ID. Okay, so let's grab this one. I'm not sure if I can copy it. Can I copy it? I cannot copy it. So okay, so let me copy response body. Okay, I'm just gonna paste it over here. Just gonna grab like this first one, Control Z, paste it over here. Okay, so let's just change like the last letter. Okay, for example, A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, let's just do F. So now if we send this request, it should say no to the sound. So this one is correct. Let's do this. Let's do that. So remember, we have like this weird validation thing that pretends to know what's a validity and what's not. And so like for fun, I just put in like this empty thing. So if we do like an empty thing over here, then it should say that it's invalid. Okay, send request. Okay, and it says invalid. Oh, we should have removed the ANSI codes. Should have removed the ANSI codes. Okay, so it's going to be left. We don't need the empty line. We don't. Okay, so it's just going to be user input, and we're going to remove that. So it's just going to say user input is not a valid ID, like this, without the other ANSI code, and join the lines maybe like this. All right. So if we go over here, we try to delete this one, send request. It should say blah blah blah, you know, the one with the space is not a valid ID. And by the way, we still have issues, right? Because like this validation is weird. It doesn't actually validate anything. It doesn't know how an actual UUID should look like. And so this one, at least as of right now, and we're not going to fix it today, is going to explode. Okay, so this one blows up. So if we put in something like blah, it's just going to explode. Okay, now something in HTTP4s is going to catch it, and it's going to wrap this into like an internal server error. And notice that we're not seeing it right now, and I believe that this is actually an issue with the ZIO integration with cats. Okay, so it says like socket hung up. Okay, and we see, you know, the typical fiber trace with fancy Unicode characters. But if we actually go and restart, and we're going to use something that is not, not ZIO, then it's going to use, okay, this is actually again ZIO. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, Monix eval task. Okay, so now if we call this one, then something in HTTP4s will properly catch it and do this internal server error, right? So we're going to see the stack trace and everything, and it's all good. Okay, we're going to deal with this a couple of videos from now, not actually in the next one. All right, great. So now we should probably. Oh no, let's actually try to delete one. You know, so let's go and let's do this one. Okay, so this one it has an E. Okay, so delete. The one that works. By the way, I'm going to commit this file, but obviously your IDs are going to be different if you're going to play with them. Okay, so if we're going to try to delete this one, it's going to properly delete it. No content. So if we do show all, it is going to say that it is there. Cool. So now that we have all of these helpers, the rest is going to be very, very fast. Okay, so we can just duplicate this one, and this one is going to be get. Okay, let me actually put it over here. Let me actually do something like this. So this is going to be get. I believe in the other one we called it search by ID. Let me actually go and take a look at it. Search by ID. Blah 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 blah. Okay, it looks very similar. So let's go grab it. Go here. Let's put it above. We have show all. Let's put it over here. Okay, same trick as always. Unit is going to be responsive F. With ID prompt. Okay, so it's going to be a def now, same as before. So it's going to be ID string. We're going to remove all of these weird strings at some point. Well, not this particular one, but like over here. Okay, with ID prompt, ID boundary. Okay, so over here there was a trick. We were converting an option to a vector because we had this helper function display 0 or many. So with this one, we're not going to do this. Okay, so we're just going to do like boundary read one by ID. We actually already have read one by ID with read one. Let's actually use this one. Yeah, let's actually do with read one, and we'll give it the ID, and the to-do comes back, and we're just gonna grab this to-do, and we're going to pipe it into a response to-do pattern. Remember in the previous video we had a helper over here, response. By the way, some people call this JSON. Anyway, response, we had like this helper thing, and it has this apply method that just wants the pattern and it's curried. Okay, so we can just do this, and it's going to pass it in over there. Let's pipe it again. convert it into JSON, and convert it into a proper response, which is going to be okay. All right, and let's call it, oh, I changed the wrong one. Changed the wrong one. That's not cool. Okay, so this is a delete. Okay, so let me grab this, go here, like this, and we're just gonna do what I said before, response to do pattern pipe as JSON and pipe into, okay, like this. All right, so now we should be able to search by ID. So if we do show all, it's not ready yet, show all, go away. Okay, there we go. And now we're gonna have like a search by ID. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to grab these ones, put them under show all like this. Deletes are going to be gets. Okay, so this is invalid. This one is still gonna blow up. This is going to be get, the one that works. And for this one, we would need to copy response. But see how painful it is to work with UUIDs, as I mentioned a couple of videos ago. It would have been much simpler if we could work with regular integers. Okay, so this is the one that works, and it's going to be get. So everywhere we say delete, it's going to say, I'm going to call it search by ID. Search by ID. Okay. Okay, so this is the one that works. Okay, so let's go and try it, and there we go. We get a response. This is the one that blows up. Okay, and we're still with Monix. That's good. This is the invalid one. Okay, bed request, invalid ID, and this one is not found. Yeah, perfect. Okay, let's show all real quick. All right, so the next one is going to be search by description, and this is the first one that is going to use query params. And for query params, the order actually matters, so we're going to put it above. Okay, so we're going to grab this one, put it above like this. Okay, so this one is going to use the query params, and the way it works with HTTP4s is like this. Okay, and we're going to use description D over here. Okay, and over here we're going to say search by description. I'm going to put in the D, which is the description. Okay, now this thing, it's just like, you know, this is how it works in HTTP4s. I'm going to put it like right underneath. It's just going to be an object description, and it extends query, okay, help me, query param decoder matcher, this one, query param decoder matcher, okay, for string, and it's going to be description, okay, because we would need to write, you know, question mark, description, you know, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So we need to do a search by description. I believe in the old one it's actually called search by partial description. But I wanted to rename it. Let's actually rename it over here as well. Search by description, because it's like very, very long. Okay, let's grab this one. Now let's grab the whole thing. Come on, grab it. Okay, we have show all, we have search by ID. Okay, so let's put it over here. Okay, same as before. So it's going to be a def, and it's going to get the D, which is a description. Yeah, maybe like this. Description string. It's going to return a response of F. Let's create more space. I'm always typing it like this because I know that Scala FMT is going to fix it for me. Let's just save it. Okay, so description prompt. So we don't need the description prompt anymore. We already have the description, and so we can just go straight to this guy. Yeah, this is pretty much the essence of the whole method. So let's just go to this guy, give him the description, and then we can do flat map. We're going to get our to-dos. Okay, and notice that it's going to be similar to this, but we want to return like a bunch of them, right? So we're going to do to-dos map, right? So instead of pipe, we're going to use map, response, to-do pattern, and then we're going to have, you know, the whole thing, the whole vector. We're going to put it into as JSON, okay, and we're going to pipe the whole thing into, okay, right? So it's very similar as over here, but over here we're doing like, we're returning only one, and over here we're returning a bunch of them, which is why it looks similar. But you know, instead of this pipe, we have a map. Instead of piping to JSON, we're doing directly the whole thing as JSON, and then piping the same thing into, okay. All right, so let's go over here and let's see. So we have show all. Okay. In fact, maybe we should probably hold on. Let's go into the main, which is this one. I just want to create one more because if we're doing like the searches, we should see properly that it actually works. So create. Um, um, I'm tired of buying milk. Write a script. Write a script. Okay, to 28, whatever. Let's do 12, 12, 12:20. I believe the server is still running, so we can do show all, and there we go. All right, cool. So we have a queue over here. Let's change back to main HTTP, HTTP4s, Postgres skunk like this, restart like that. Okay, so we have show all, and we're not gonna like retest everything. So let me just do. Um, what does it say? Search by ID all. Oh, I renamed it improperly. All right, so let's just grab this one. Let's just call it search by description. Description. Okay, so now we need to do the question mark over here, and we're gonna say description equals. Okay, let's do more. Let's do more. Search, and there we go. It's this one. What was the other one? Script. And there we go. Write a script. Yay! Okay, show all again. Cool. So the next ones that we're going to do are basically the only ones that are left are the inserts, and the inserts are going to be a little bit more involved, not more complicated, just a little bit more involved. Let's actually stop the server real quick. Okay, let's just switch to compiling. All right, so we have this response over here. All right, so it's in a separate package, and it's called, it's in the package response because maybe you're gonna have like a bunch of endpoints. They all are going to return this response. For the requests, the requests are always very specific to the controller that we're building. Okay, so these requests are all going to be for this controller. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have an object request over here, like this. And inside of it, we're going to put a to-do. Okay, so the first one that we're going to have is final case class create. It's going to take in the description, which is a string. Going to take the deadline, which is a string. Both are strings. Notice that. Going to have object create over here. It's going to have implicit val. And for this one, we're going to need the decoders. Okay, so remember over here, this is the response. Because like usually you would just define the entire code, I can forget about it. But this one I wanted to be a little bit more explicit. The responses, they need to be encoded. The requests, they need to be decoded. Okay, so it's going to be a decoder. It's going to be a decoder for create, and it's going to be derive decoder like this, derive and decoder. And over here we're going to have implicit val entity decoder as well. Now HTTP4s is built on HTTP4s, so the streams, they need a sync, which is why we're going to end up using a sync over here. And over here, this method is going to return entity decoder f create. And because we're using async, we're going to end up delaying the entire controller. So JSON off. Okay, we probably need a bunch of imports. Okay, so it can't be a val because it needs a parameter. So it's going to be a def. All right, nice. So we need a couple of imports. So let's go up. So let's see. We have the Circe syntax. We also need the Circe generic semi-auto. That should be actually enough. Maybe also IO Circe. Import IO Circe like this. All right, yeah. So these red lines disappeared. Great. So now we can create stuff. So before we go into copy paste stuff, I remember like my script tells me that in the to local date over here, we're still using a try, and we use it because in the beginning of the series, if you remember, we were building our own version of cats, and so I did not have like the necessary helpers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to remove it so that I don't forget about it. and if I press F8, it's gonna jump back there. We're just gonna go and say either catch, none, fatal. Okay, and now we don't need to either. We don't need left. We can just say left map or map left. I never remember this. Yeah, left map. Okay, so now we can go and grab it. If we look at create, which is over here, so it has a description prompt. It has the with deadline prompt, which is why we just refactored it, and it has a deadline prompt. It has to local date. Yeah, so we need to grab like all of these guys. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Create. All right. So let's go back. Why does it show me the red curly brace? All right, create. So create is going to be over here. Paste them all over here. Okay, let's save it. Create, like this. Great. So what it's going to receive, so it's going to be a def now, right? So it's going to receive a payload, which is going to be a request to do create. You know, it's the one that we created just a couple of minutes ago. This case class down there. This one, description and deadline. Okay, so it's going to get it, and therefore we can maybe go and finish the route. Actually, let's do the route later. Okay, so all we need to understand for now is that you know, the route is going to receive this JSON, right, and it's going to have it, and therefore it's going to be passed into this create. Okay, this payload is going to be pasted into the create. Okay, so let's see. So now we don't need the description prompt because we already have the description inside of the payload. So we can just remove that, and we can just get the description out of the payload like this. All right. So over here, we're going to do create one. Yeah, so we're going to remove that because now we need it. So we need to do a map response to do pattern map as JSON, and we need to return a 201, and HTTP4s has a helper. Create it underscore like this. Okay, so this part should be fine, but now it says type mismatch because we have a bunch of errors below. Okay, so we have the with deadline prompt. So with deadline prompt, again, the deadline is already passed in, so we need to do the same trick as we were doing before, right? So we're going to say deadline is already here. Deadline is a string, and so with deadline prompt is going to pass it in over here, payload.deadline. Okay. So we have that. We don't have the local datetime, really. Let's import it. Let's make sure that it's at the top. Like this. Like that. All right, let's just click here. This one. Okay, so this is going to be a bed request, probably. Bed request. Okay, all right. So, and all units are going to be a response of F. Okay. So this one is happy. This one is happy. Deadline prompt. We actually don't need the deadline prompt. Deadline prompt is over here. Yeah, we don't need the deadline prompt because over here we already have the deadline, right? So it's the same trick. So this is going to be deadline already. This is going to be a pipe, and this is going to be a match. Okay. So we're just sort of like going from this like you know, functorial structure. We're going down to the regular thing. All right, so deadline prompt pattern, we probably have it defined somewhere over here, right? So we can just grab it like this. It's probably somewhere down. Oh, where are we gonna put it? Let's put it here. Deadline prompt pattern. All right, so yeah, this part is happy now. This part should be okay, rendered input. So we don't need any ANSI colors anymore. So we might as well just use directly input over here. Remove that. Remove that. And input does not match the required format. So we don't need that. Okay, we still need to grab this guy. This guy is here, over here. Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, it's just a pattern. It's because we don't need the ANSI codes anymore, so we can just go and grab the pattern like this. By the way, you know that our core is doing the trimming, but we're also going to trim it over here so that the error message is better. Did we do it over there actually? Actually, did we do it over here? Rendered input. We didn't do it over here. We should have done it over here as well. We should have said something like trimmed input, which is a string, is input dot trim like this, right? Because we're also parsing it over here. Yeah, we should have done this all the time. Here, here, like this. So let's grab this guy over here, paste him over here. I'm not sure if we actually need to, no, we still need to do it over here. Trim input like this, does not match the required format. And there we go. So now we should be able to create stuff because everything compiles. Okay. So oh no, we forgot the actual route. So we need to go over here. And we're going to say case post to root. Okay, it's going to be R, and R is going to become from here, right? So we're going to assign it over here as request to do create. Okay, this is our case class. We're just going to flat map into create, right? Because create it wants this payload. Okay, so as of right now, it should not compile because it should say that it could not find implicit parameter monad error, right? So we're basically going to end up needing the sync, right? We need the sync anyway, right? So even if we do like monad arrow, so if we do monad arrow for some type, right, throwable, okay, it's still going to say that we need cannot decode, right? Because remember the decoder, it wants the sync over here, right? So we end up needing sync over here. Where is it? Over here, right? So we can pretty much say that we just need sync because sync also extends defer, right? So this is the whole thing. Sync has like all of these things. Effect.sync, like this. All right. And because we're using sync now, we're actually going to need to delay the whole thing, right? So this whole thing over here needs to be delayed. F dot delay. Let me actually close the curly brace over here, open it over here, and do that. Yeah, I knew that VS Code would unfold the whole thing. Okay, so now this thing returned an F of controller F, and now we should go to the dependency graph. Which is over here, and we just need to change this map to flat map, and we need to go to the other dependency graph as well, the one that uses HTTP, which is this one, right? Flat map. Okay, because now it returns an F of this thing. Close this one, and now we should be able to go and create one. Let's go over here. Let's not forget to actually run it. Come on, wake up. What are you doing? Restart like this. I don't want to type this whole JSON thing. I'm just going to paste it. So let's do, I'm going to put it under show all or above show all. I want show all to be like the first one because we're going to use it like very often. Okay, so I'm going to do this one. So we have the empty spaces over here, also over here as well, right? We're going to trim the whole thing. Like this. Okay, so if we do a show all, we're seeing only this ones. Let's do write script. All right, moment of truth, create. Ta-da! It created this one. So we do a show all. It is over there. Write a script. Awesome. Okay, so maybe we should also try to create something with errors. Yeah, let's do with errors. Okay, create with errors. Okay, let's do, I'm gonna put H over here or something, right? So it's not gonna be able to parse the deadline. So send request does not match the required format. Great, and we remove the ANSI code, which is why it's all good. All right, show all, and Yeah, so the next one that we're going to do are the updates. They're the last ones, and then we're done. So in the original controller, everything was like sequential, right? So in the original app, right, because it was in the terminal, like enter the description, enter the deadline. And we're going to have the same thing over here. We should be able to update just the description or just the deadline, but we should also be able to update all the fields at the same time, okay? What most people do is they create a case class with a bunch of options in there, and I really, really dislike it, especially if some things in the domain are optional. For example, let's say if you wanted to have reminders if we're at some certain location, so the to-do would have a location, which is an option, right? Which means an update to that, it's going to be a big case class which can update like all the fields, and this optional field is going to have an option of location ID. It's going to be super weird. So what I do instead is I create dedicated case classes for this. Okay, so we're going to go over here, no, over here. Okay, so we're going to go into let me actually collapse not the router, this whole delay thing. Okay, so we have our request. Okay, it basically just has the create. So we're gonna have an entire different ADT for the updates. Okay, and the one that updates all the fields is gonna look exactly like create, and so create is going to be part of that ADT as well. Okay, so this is going to look a little bit uncommon. Okay, so we're gonna have product with serializable. Okay, and the first update that we can have is going to be the create itself. Okay, so we're going to say extends update, right? So create and update. Sometimes people call it upsert, update and insert at the same time. Okay, and the other ones are going to be over here. So the other ones are going to look, like a classic ADT. Okay, so we're going to have final case class. Let's actually start the server. Stop the server. Restop. And let's just go back to compile. Final case class, let's update the description, which is just a string, extends update. Then we're going to have case class deadline. It's going to be deadline, which is also going to be a string, extends update like this. Let's actually not have this empty line. And we're going to have a type alias to make it look cool. All fields is going to be the same as create. Okay, so this is going to be our ADT. Okay, and now the same as for create, we're going to have a companion object. In fact, let's actually just grab this one, paste it over here. Everywhere we say create, we're going to say update like this. Okay, and now it's going to say update is already defined in object update. Oh yeah, we already have the subject. Okay, like this. All right, so let's just have these guys. Okay. So it can already derive this decoder, but the default, like if you have seen my my video about Cersei, the default decoders are not going to be the ones that I need, right? So they would expect us to actually specify, like, are we sending the description or are we sending the deadline or not? So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to, instead of deriving the decoder for this one, we're going to derive the decoders for all of them. And by the way, the order matters over here. So we're going to do all fields, then we're going to do description, and then we're going to do deadline. Okay, we're going to put them all into a non-empty chain of decoder. Now the type over here is going to be update, and therefore we're going to need a little bit more help over here. So let me finish typing this first. I'm going to putting them all. Okay, reduce left, or remember the one, remember the codec, the decoder that we created for either in my Cersei series. This is the similar or. Remember we were saying like either it's the left or it's the right side. Okay, so now if we're going to do this, it's still not going to compile. It's going to say, well, that's just because I can't type. Okay, so let's just go up and do import cats and data. Okay, so now it's going to say type mismatch, and now it's going to say also not found type description. Hold on. All right. Okay, type mismatch. Okay, so it basically says, I found the decoder for all fields, but I wanted the one for update. All we need to do is we need to widen these types to this type. And cats has a helper method called widen, like this, dot widen. Okay. I'm also going to leave a comment over here. I'm going to say order matters. Okay, because otherwise, like it's all strings, right? And so if you just send the description, it's going to be able to put it something like over here and not over there. Okay, at least in the preparation of my video for this video, it only worked if I put it as first. Okay, so now that we have all of these guys, let's actually go and add the route. And the route is going to be very similar to create. Okay, so I'm just going to do this one, and I'm going to have that. Okay, so in this particular case, it's going to be update. Right, so this one is going to say update. This one is going to say update. And when we want to update, we actually want the ID. Okay, so it's going to be ID over here. And the entire thing is also not a post, it's a put. Okay, so now we just need the update. So we're gonna go and put it under over here. Okay, so it's going to be a private def update ID, which is a string, and it's going to return a request to do update. So this one is going to be slightly different. I'm doing it like this just for simplicity. Well, actually, it's going to be a little bit more involved, but this is a create function. Like so, before, for example, we had a create, which was okay. Create is not a create function, but like with deadline prompt, for example, this is a create function. This is actually slightly confusing one because this one is already a function. Anyway, let me finish typing it, and then you'll see why I did it like this. Okay, so this is a function that takes a function and returns another function, right? And I did this because I wanted to be able to just go over here and just start typing my partial function, right? So I just want to say over here, right? Because otherwise, like, I'll show it to you in a second. Okay, so if we do like request to do update description like this, then we're gonna have update description ID payload. Okay, so let me save that. Yes. Okay, let me grab this one, paste it. So this one is going to be deadline. This one is going to be deadline. This one is going to be all fields. This one is going to be update all fields. All right, so let me just have a private def update description. It's going to be ID string. Well, actually, it's not the ID string. It's going to be description. Well, no, it's actually going to be ID string. ID string and the payload, which is going to be, well, that guy, like this. Okay, it's going to return an f of response of f, as they always do, equals question marks like this. So let me grab this one, description like this. Let me grab this one, paste it over here. I know it's a lot of like typing right now, but it's basically all copy paste. Okay, so this is also a deadline, and this is update all fields, and this one is update all fields like this. Okay, so I believe we have everything we need. Okay, so let me show you what I meant over here. Okay, so if I had like this, if I had update 2 and I were to just put in like a second parameter list, which just gets the update, right? Request to do update. Okay, like this, and then this whole thing would just return the response. Okay, like this. Then over here, I would need to do this update match. Okay, so this thing is just a little bit shorter. This is the only reason why I did it. Let me actually close this one so that you see like both of them. Okay, right? Because it's actually the same thing. Okay, but it's a bit less code. It's a bit more ergonomic. Maybe it's actually going to fit into one line. Maybe not. No, it's not going to fit into one line. All right, so this is the only reason why I did it. Okay, so let's go through this thing real quick. So again, it starts with over here. So we're trying to decode and update, and over here it's gonna go through these guys. It's gonna try to put it into here, into here, into here, and then if it manages that, then okay. If it manages that, right, so if it decodes an update, then it's going to convert these updates into a description deadline or all fields, and then it's gonna call these functions. Okay, and these functions we can pretty much copy paste them from the controller. Okay, so we're gonna have update description, grab the whole thing, put it over here, It's going to be slightly different probably. Okay, so with ID prompt, we don't need the ID prompt because we already have the ID. Okay, so it's just going to be like this. Okay. Description prompt, we don't need to do that because the description is inside of the payload. Okay, so we can remove that, and it's going to be payload.description. Payload.description. Okay, and over here, this is just an okay, I believe. Yeah, we can't do just okay because we need to do this whole JSON thing. Okay, so we're gonna have update one. Maybe it's actually gonna fit into this one line. If we do that, and we're gonna do map response to do pattern. We're gonna map it as JSON, and we're going to flat map into OK like this. And I believe that's it. Okay, so this is the update description. It's pretty much same as before. We can copy paste it over here. So this one will actually need the deadline prompt. And by the way, I didn't rename them, right? Because there's no actual prompt anymore, but I wanted to leave it like similar to how it was before. Okay, so by the way, I'm thinking now. No, we still need to parse the ID. So we still need to do this with ID description. So with ID prompt. See, like this is the confusing part because everything is strings. We're gonna fix this in the next video. Okay, like this. This is what I want to have. Okay, because right now this is weird because this is a string. This is a string. And okay, this is a to do, right? Okay, so let me grab this guy. Put it over here. And we're going to need the deadline. So over here we're gonna have the with deadline prompt help deadline prompt. It's gonna take the payload dot deadline, parse it into deadline, arrow to the right. This curly brace just gonna throw it somewhere. Scala FMT is gonna fix it. Okay, payload dot. Okay, so over here we're just using the deadline. I believe that's it. We need to update the deadline. All right, like this. And update all fields. Now, this is an interesting one because now we have the opportunity to validate all the fields at once. But we're not going to do this in this video. We're going to do this a couple of videos from now. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy paste this one, put it over here, just duplicate this line or even just bring down this line. Duplicate and bring it down, put it over here. Almost. Okay, I didn't want that. No, I want to update one. I want to do that, remove that, and that should be good. There we go. I mean, at this point, this is already all the fields. So at this point, we could have also like constructed the to do case class ourselves, but I'm going to leave it like this. All right, and yeah, this is pretty much it. Let's go and try to run this guy. Restart like this. Okay, so we're gonna go to client HTTP. So let's do show all. Let me see. Okay, so let's update the one with writer script. Okay, so we're gonna have an update over here. This is going to be an update. This is going to be put. Same endpoint, but we need to specify the ID. Okay, so this is going to be this one. Okay, again, copy response body, paste it over here. We need this one. Copy that one. Control Z, paste it over here. Okay, so update. And now we need to specify what we want to update. So for example, we want to update the description, this one, right? And we're gonna say update script. How about this update script? Like this, okay? Let's do that. By the way, this plugin, this REST client, it needs an empty line over here so that it knows that this thing is the body, okay? Let's go try it. Update. The request body was malformed because there's a comma over here. By the way, notice that HTTP4s handles this properly. Okay, and there we go. Now it says update script. So if we go to show all, it's going to say update script. Okay, let's do the same thing with the deadline. So I'm going to say over here, update description. Over here, we're going to say update deadline. I'm going to just copy that, paste it over here. That's going to be deadline. Deadline. Let's put it into September 17. I'm just doing some random crap. Okay. All right. This is the same ID. So now it's September 27, which happens to be a Sunday, 1735. Let's go to show. Ta-da. Update script. Hold on, something is wrong. Did we have two of them that says write script? Because we still need to we still need to write the one that updates both fields. Okay, so update deadline, update all fields. Okay, so we're just gonna grab the description, bring it down. Let's not forget the comma over here. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a 2 over here. So this one is going to jump up as soon as we put something earlier, right? So August, let's do 25. Something like this. Okay, so now both fields are updated, and if we do show all, then it should be the first one. Yeah, let's remove the 2 now. This one, like this. Okay. Oh, I didn't send it. Damn it. This one. All right, and show all. Great. Update script by milk. Awesome. Now we're pretty much done with the video. Just for fun, I want to show you that we can actually run the other one. Okay, so the other main, the one, oh, I pressed Control C. Why did I do that? Okay, fine. Let's go in there again. So the other main, the one that exposes the HTTP endpoint, it doesn't work with UIDs. And as a preparation for the next video, I want to remind you how awesome it is to work with the regular IDs. So let's go into main HTTP, this one, right? So this is the one that does not use the database. Okay, so we're just gonna go and do show all once it finishes compiling. Okay, so we're gonna do show all. Okay, and now if we create a couple of these, the IDs are going to be integers. Okay, show all is like 0, 1, 2. And so if I want to update something, right? So for example, update the description, I can just say, okay, I can just go and say, 1. Okay, and it's going to turn this by milk into update script, which is way more convenient than, copy pasting these, these UUIDs like this, right? Update script. Okay, let me actually go back like this. All right, great. So this is pretty much all that I wanted to do today. We're not done with the series. In the next video, we're going to do something about this weird string ID, and we're going to pretty much start a conversation about error handling. Okay, so let's go and real quick see what we changed as a tree. Oh, this is another extension that I have called git graph. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to click on view sort as a tree like this. All right, so let's close everything. Okay, so controller, there's just a couple of refactorings, and this one. Yeah, okay, so this is the biggest change. HTTP app, just a refactoring. Controller over here, it's fine. This is fine. This is fine. And the same things over here. Great. All right, so we're going to do gcam, and this is going to be video 14, part 12. Let's push. Let's, is it finishing, pushing? There we go. Let's reload. There we go. Part 12. And yeah, so we did a lot of changes over here. We added a bunch of playing arounds, factored out the controller, made some changes to the HTTP app. Okay, the controller changed drastically, obviously. What is this? Okay, this is the old controller, just to rename. And over here, the program, refactorings. And yeah, that's pretty much everything that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Every time I'm creating like web apps, like not web apps, but like HTTP endpoints, I kind of feel like I don't know, like the first time I wrote my Hello World program, you know, like it actually works. Like I don't know, so there's something about web servers, like there's this feeling that, you know, I can just throw it on any server and it's just gonna work. I mean, we don't have authentication, but you know, that's the point. In any case, that's all I wanted to say today. All I wanted to show you for today. For now, as always, it's been Vlad, devinside.com. Don't forget to like this video if you did. Subscribe if you want to improve the developer inside you. And if you learned something today, consider supporting me on Patreon or on GitHub sponsors, whatever you prefer. And just watch my videos before everyone else, sometimes weeks, sometimes even months before everyone else. And most importantly, take care.